Yeah.
But in preparing me for house captaincy and other things, he very generously took me and Andrew McIntosh on a holiday to Germany, where he took us to Berchtesgaden. And those of you who remember my incumbency as house captain and head of school, remember that was very good training. I wonder if Jock knows this, which again came into my head. That Jock was very good at getting to the dormitory doors without hearing. But I wonder if he knows that when he'd gone off to bed, boys used to get up out of the dormitory, go down into his office and turn on his television and watch it.
Any names, please?
Well, people such as Bijan Nahar, John Wicks and Mansour Ishaq would go down and watch his play boxing on Jock's television in America. Not being in bed. Did you know that?
Oh, you do now. Attention.
But Jock's life at St Edmunds, of course, was much more than these fragments. The establishment and running of and the achievement of considerable success in tennis with the school team was one of his major contributions. When William Thoresby sadly passed away in the summer of 1959, Jock took advantage of that to get most of the headmaster's garden to head for hard tennis courts and tennis flourished for the next 29 years under his management. Elsewhere in sport, and also like Roxburgh at Stowe, he was a hockey enthusiast, which led to a curious incident in my life later on, where in St Andrews I suddenly encountered a car I had previously polished in a period of existence, which was a Triumph Herald convertible with its registration VGN. Now I wonder whether he bought I also wonder whether he bought the Triumph Herald because it was said that the Triumph Herald could turn in half a tennis court. But he sold it to Bob Bogdan, the hockey master and geographer at Charterhouse. So Jock is a man from whom you can safely buy used cars. He was most impressive to many generations of boys at school in all sorts of ways, and in the classroom and so on. And he was especially sensitive to the needs of that extinct breed at St Edmunds, the Foundationers, sons of clergy whose fathers were dead, who, this group from a majority of pupils after the war, steadily declined into nothingness, but who in the 1950s and 60s were a significant group in school. Jock was very good at understanding these people, and I think it's true to say that Jock's mother's influence in his own life was very significant. Towards the end of Roxburgh's tenure at Stowe, and about the time that Jock was there, Stowe was running down somewhat. The heroic founder head, supported by entrenched housemasters whom any change was anathema, was the case, as Roxburgh's successor Eric Reynolds was to discover. Many of the aspects of the need to change, which Jock had lived through at Stowe, were certainly visible at St Edmunds in these days. The decline and sudden death of William Thoresby in 1959 after years of ill health must have been tough on the staff. I mean, even by the time Jock arrived in 1953, Thoresby was almost then in decline, but carried on for another 6 years. The boys, especially in the senior school, many of them present here today, were rather wild, I think it's true to say. The famous Founders' Night bonfires on the 9th of November, which I can remember witnessing in the late 1950s, where boys fired rockets horizontally at the monitors. Ran to and fro, stuffing fireworks, I thought, down one another's trousers, but Jock's history says into one another's pockets. Michael Hogan had to contend with all this in his modernising headmastership from 1960, and this, of course, is exactly what Jock's wonderful history described. He called it the modernising chapter. And Holborn made a considerable achievement, apart from beating many boys for cramming into a study, which was rather over it. Anybody hearing that walk to a study? Caned by Holborn. And so John went through, saw off a number of headmasters, and indeed for a while one of them was on leave, he stood in as head. And I'm informed from people who witnessed this that one thing Jock did not appreciate was staff turning up on his doorstep wanting him to make decisions. Go away, he would say, go and make your decisions. I'm not paid to make your decisions. Well, like Jock, I walked away from teaching at 60 and hoped that my retirement, after a similar long service in education, will be half as productive as his has been. We've had the famous books on St Edmund's, first the Register up to 2002, and then Foundation on a Hill in 2007. Both these books were, in the words of J.P. Daggett, who reviewed them, written with a deep love of the institution, and that's absolutely right. He's given his best years to St Edmund's. As those of you who have seen them will know, were carried out with Jock's characteristic thoroughness, determination and meticulous attention to detail, and it is a huge amount of work that he's achieved quietly and unostentatiously in getting all that material together. Just before we raise a glass to Jock's extraordinary achievements at St Edmund's, we should recall that he's not just known at St Edmund's, but has a life beyond the school as well. And here I hope I'm right in saying that the Asbury-Bailey plate and the Asbury-Bailey cup, something to do with you? Are well-established awards of the Independent Schools Tennis Association. And what made me think that they really were something to do with Jock is that the plate is awarded for girls, I think, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. The plate is awarded to the winners of a competition initiated amongst all the teams that are knocked out in the first round of the cup. So even if you're completely hopeless at tennis, get knocked out in the first round, you can still compete for the Asbury-Bailey plate, and that's a very Jockish thing to do. Everybody should be included. Again, knocks right back into what I was saying about Stowe earlier. In addition, of course, he's still well in touch with his former institutions at Stowe and at Trinity College, Cambridge. So then here we have a life shaped by family background, by school and university, and he's been an enormous benefit to them. It hasn't done anything about pilgrimages to France or any of those things, which he's also contributed. So to use his unique and overwhelmingly understated phrase, I think you can say that Jock's life has been, well, pretty good on the whole. So could I ask you just to join with me in raising a glass?